Good morning. I would like to call this meeting to order. Thank you for joining us during our weekly virtual MLS breakfast meeting. My name is Tom Zeng of TJ Management. A little bit about me. My name is Tom Zeng, and I'm the March MLS Program Chair. A few housekeeping tips. All participants will be muted upon entry to the MLS breakfast meeting. And should you have a question or a comment, please remember to enter it into the chat box. Please remember to join us weekly as we will have our virtual MLS breakfast meetings every Thursday at 9 a.m. As always, this meeting is being recorded and will be available online on our YouTube channel, West San Gabriel Valley Realtors. Please remember to follow WSGVR social media on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also watch all our pre-recorded videos on YouTube. WSGVR introduced a new text message service. For updates, text WSGVR to the number 72727. CRMLS quick tips. Duty to correct and cooperate. A participant and subscriber within 2 business days of a citation must correct any violation of the rules and regulations and bring the listing into compliance. Failure to correct violations or cooperate with an investigation under the rules and regulations within the 2 business day correction period may subject to a non-conforming listing to removal from the MLS database. Any fines levied against participant under this section as a result of the action of a subscriber under the participant may be transferred to an appropriate manager under the participant. Visit www.gocrmls.org/compliance for more information and resources. Today's agenda consists of our affiliate spotlight, Maria Howard from Old Republic Home Protection, followed by our guest speaker, Doug McCauley, Department of Real Estate Commissioner. Just a reminder that to be eligible for today's raffle, you must be a WSGVR member and your name must be displayed to win. No telephone numbers will be accepted. Today, our affiliate spotlight will be brought to you by the affiliate committee chair, Sage Gomez, and vice chair, Brendan Spransky. Today's guest speaker is Maria Howard from Old Republic Home Protection. The floor is yours, Maria.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much. It's so good to be here. Well, I've been serving the real estate community for almost 40 years. I completed 40 years last year. I think I've lasted longer than some marriages. So, well, let me tell you a little bit about myself. I was raised in the San Gabriel Valley. My parents were Native Americans. They came from Arizona. I have a very diverse background as far as ethnicity. I learned Spanish as a child, went to school, learned English. So I do speak fluent Spanish, and presently I am learning Mandarin. I'm now in my 4th month. I'm so excited. My instructor, who's teaching me so much about the culture and all the festivals and celebrations, has made me aware of so much that I was not aware of. And just overall, I'm just excited to learn what I'm learning. So the other thing I like to talk about is I am an ultra runner. My passions, I run. Some of you who are friends with me on Facebook have seen me do a lot of marathons, a lot of ultras, 50Ks, 50 milers. And I have a short little story. Back in 2019, I was chasing the 100 miler. I share that story not because I finished 100 miles, but the journey that I took to get there. I literally had tried 3 times to complete a 100-mile, and both those attempts I had failed. But I kept on that journey, and I wanted to reach that goal, and I finally reached it. And why do I tell you that? Because it's all about our determination. We all hit roadblocks in life. We are faced with challenges in life that we didn't expect. But through our mindset and our commitment to get through those hard times, we can get through that. Old Republic has been around for over 45 years, and I'm so honored and grateful to represent the West San Gabriel Valley salesperson. So with that being said, if you have any questions and concerns, please reach out to me. I did put my information in the chat. And if you just want to learn how to run and don't know where to start, call me. I'll help you. Thank you so much. You guys have a great day.
Thank you, Maria. We will now have a special St. Patrick's Day greeting brought to you by our affiliate Community Program Chair Sage Gomez and Vice Program Chair Brandon Spransky. Please remember to support our affiliates with your transactions. Sage and Brandon.
Good morning, everyone. We put together a happy St. Patrick's Day video from some of the affiliates at West San Gabriel. It was very last minute, so we weren't able to get all the affiliates. However, I hope you guys enjoy it.
And I just wanted to say thank you to all the affiliates for sending in their videos, and I hope everyone enjoys. And there's definitely some humor, so enjoy.
Hi, you need a Woo Home Warranty from America, your 13 months home warranty. I want to wish everyone a happy St. Patrick's Day. Be safe and be healthy, and you take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone, from Sage Gomez at My NHG. Have a great day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. I'm Yadini, Environmental Phase 1 and Phase 2 Services. Have a beautiful day.
Hi, this is John Wax with Snap NHD Natural Hazard Disclosures, wishing you a fun and safe Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Good morning, everyone. This is Tom Zeng from TJ Management, wishing everybody a great selling week and happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day from Allstate Agency owner Mark Wu. Don't leave your buyer's insurance to luck. Allow them to be in my good hands.
Hi, everyone. This is Chase Kerr with Morrison Plus Property Inspections, wishing you all a happy St. Patrick's Day.
Hey, everyone. Sandy Franco, First American Home Warranty. Wishing you the luck of the Irish today and always.
Good morning, everyone. Hope everyone has a happy St. Patrick's Day. This is Brandon Savransky with First American Natural Hazard Disclosures.
Ready. Happy St. Patty's Day, everyone. Hope you have a wonderful celebration, everyone. Alina from Glen Oaks Escrow.
Hey, everyone. This is Joseph with Pillar to Post Home Inspectors. Just want to wish you a happy St. Patrick's Day. Take it easy and stay safe.
Happy St. Patty's Day. This is Joe Haggerty with Orange Coast Title.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, friends. Cosmo with New Aim Funding.
Great video. That's very sharing. Next, we are happy to include open pitching to our virtual MLS Breakfast meeting. Today, we feature a commercial listing from Stella Lau of Hans Investment Group. If you'd like to register for open pitching, please sign up at WSGBR website. Go ahead. Stella?
I don't know if this person is here.
Yeah, doesn't look like she's here.
Okay.
Okay.
We do find people, $25, I think.
Yes, we do.
Then we will pass on this time. At this time, I would like to introduce our speaker, Commissioner Doug McCauley. Mr. McCauley was appointed Commissioner of the California Department of Real Estate, DRE, by Governor Gavin Newsom on April of 2020 and assumed office on May of 2020. Previously, he was appointed in 2018 as Chief Deputy Director of the Department of Housing and Community Development and was a designated acting director in September of 2019. Commissioner McCauley has been executive officer of the California Architect Board since 2001, where he led several key innovations, such as the nation's first evidence-based internship program for the design profession. He also managed the conversion of the California supplemental examination to a computer-based format, which dramatically increased access to licensure. On behalf of the West San Gabriel Valley Realtors, we would like to welcome our guest speaker, Doug McCauley.
Thank you, Tom, and good morning, everybody. I'm pleased to be with you this morning. I have with me our Assistant Commissioner for Communications, Rick Lopes, and our Assistant Commissioner for Enforcement, Chica Sunquist. And so as we go through the presentation, they will try to pick off as many of your questions as possible. I don't know that I'm going to be able to stay on for too many afterwards, but we've got a really good track record of being responsive. And if there's something we need to circle back on, we will do that so the group can have all of our responses. So thank you for the warm welcome. Hold on, I've got a Zoom thing. Okay. So Rick is adding my slides. Thank you, Rick. So yeah, as Tom mentioned, I was at the Department of Housing before I came to DRE, and it was just such a compelling and rewarding time to be there in the midst of California's housing crisis. I know I don't need to underscore for this group the chronic underproduction problem we have. We're generating about half the new units we need each year. And Governor Newsom has signed a number of bills to remove some of the impediments for housing, as well as to hold local governments accountable when they're not planning for housing appropriately. And then my time at the Architects Board really helps me plug in well at DRE, and that all of those programs are analogous to what we have at DRE, an exam program, continuing education, enforcement, so all of that fits nicely. And then my real estate experience, again, licensed since '97 and working primarily on my family's investment properties, as well as in support of my wife's residential business with a boutique firm here in Sacramento. So first, a little bit about DRE, because sometimes for some folks, there's a gray area, but you can see our mission here from our strategic plan. It's to promote the public interest in real estate. And sometimes folks do get a little bit blurry on the difference between CAR and DRE. So for example, if somebody's late on the renewal and they say, hey, I mailed you guys my dues, a month ago. Well, your dues go to the association and your renewal fees come to us. But the legislature wanted to be really sure that we maintain that focus on consumer protection. You can see one of the notations here that's in our statute, and there's a second one as well. And it essentially says whenever consumer protection is up against another issue, consumer protection always needs to carry the day. And the distinct missions of CAR and DRE, I think, are really important, and they make a lot of sense. CAR is about promoting the profession. We're about protecting consumers, but we are absolutely stronger together. And it's really important that we continue to maintain that relationship so that we have an issue where we're not on the same page and we can have a vigorous, maybe even contentious debate, but then the very next day we can turn the page on and work on something collaboratively because we truly are stronger together. On the operational side for DRE, we have 370 employees and 5 offices throughout California, each of which has an exam center either in the office or nearby. And again, our program areas are pretty common for a licensing entity. The only one-off piece that we have is we do regulate subdivisions. And so my elevator explanation, if somebody asks what DRE does, I just crystallize it into 2 things. We make sure people know what they're doing when they get their license through the exam. And then we police the marketplace and make sure that they're operating consistent with real estate law. So it's really that simple. It's those dual tracks that we have that drive all of our work to fulfill our mission. More on operations with respect to our budget. So you can see our allocation that comes from the legislature, and it's signed off by the governor, of $55 million. And we work really hard to be good stewards with our resources. We recognize where these come from. These are from you, all of our hardworking licensees. And so we take that responsibility very serious. And I think you'll see that reflected on the next slide. So these are our actual expenditures. You can see that we come in significantly under budget. And no big surprise when you think about all that programming, leasing over 400,000 licensees, getting thousands of people through the exam process and license. So to have the horsepower for that, the lion's share of our budget is indeed for staffing. The other interesting one for me, and a little bit relative to DRE, but the marketplace in general, and that's the chunk on facilities, because we all understand what's going on with brick and mortar because of our public health climate, reduced wages, etc. And so all of those facilities are going to be there for potentially conversion to housing or other uses. So looking forward to seeing how that shakes out. There are a number of bills pending in the legislature to encourage that type of development, as well as remove impediments to making it happen. So our total number of licensees, you can see here, 445, and you can see the split between brokers and salespersons. And our numbers have remained relatively consistent the last few years, which we find very encouraging. People want to come into the profession. We're not growing at this point, but nonetheless, we're not seeing a drop off. So as to DRE and what's going on currently, because of the public health climate, our team is largely working remotely. It did take a bit to get to this point. Like for a lot of organizations, we had to put in a significant procurement for laptops and other equipment that staff needed to work remotely, but we're fully functional at a 90% rate. And we're actually performing better in some of our areas with this work environment. So we do currently have all 5 of our exam centers open. We are operating at 50% capacity to maintain all of the public health mandates that we need to adhere to. But we've taken a number of steps to actually increase the number of exams, including opening the auxiliary center. And that's the photo on your upper right. That's normally our auditorium. And we're testing evenings as well as Saturdays. And then we're also really aggressive on scheduling and, more importantly, confirming, which is something we hadn't done previously. But we stalk our applicants and make sure they're actually going to show up, because what really kills the numbers is when you have no shows. So we're doing everything we can to make sure that those seats are filled. And we're cranking out about 1,300 exams per week. In terms of coming attractions, we are looking at opening additional test centers through contracting with a test vendor. We have 5 sites, and I was a little bit interested, if not skeptical, when I landed at DRE, because I had not seen a state-run test center before. All of my experience at the Architects Board was with outside vendors, and we're going to take advantage of that model, because yes, we have 5 test centers, but when you think about the applicant up in Eureka, California, who's got to drive a full day down to Sacramento, maybe have lodging and all the meal expenses, and hopefully pass the first time. I'm hoping that we can do better, and by working with a vendor, we could have potentially 25 sites throughout California so that folks can test close to their home and do so efficiently. We want to open access to testing and to the profession so that folks can demonstrate that they have the requisite knowledge and enter this exciting field. We're also working toward expanding our online functionality. We know that this is really important in this climate. And those of you who have done renewals know how efficient our current system is for that. So we're working to expand it for the exam side of the operation as well. And we hope to have that effectuated by the end of the year. We also have a rollout of the second phase for our subdivisions program for Sopris. And then lastly, the website redesign. And this one's really important to me. The project was underway when I started, but I think the worst thing we can do is rebuild a website and launch it, because the website doesn't need to make sense to Doug McCauley or to our team in Sacramento. It needs to make sense to you. You need to be able to do the business you need to do. You need to be able to find the resources that you need. So we're going to take that extra step of convening a focus group so that some of our licensees can kick the tires and tell us where we need to improve. Again, we want this to make sense to you so that you can do what you need to do efficiently and effectively. A major happening for us was sunset review. So this is a process that all licensing entities go through, mostly the boards and bureaus under the Department of Consumer Affairs. And we were housed over there as a bureau and converted back to a department about 5 years ago. But the sunset review process can be pretty daunting. So for the first step, you prepare a very comprehensive report that explains all of your programs, the philosophies that drive them, your metrics, and prior to the hearing, you receive a set of questions from the legislature that you respond to at the hearing. So you present your report, short summary of it, and then you respond to those questions. And the way that I measure success for Sunset, I've been through it a few times, is how many questions do you get at the hearing? Because if you explain your programs well, if you've been very diligent in adhering to your mission and being forward thinking about how you approach your work, you're going to do well, and the message will be clear to the legislature, and you won't receive a lot of questions, because those questions can focus not only on problems, but areas where you've got blind spots and you're not fulfilling your mission properly. So we had like 3 questions, and they were pretty straightforward and not difficult for us to address. And then from there, you have the sunset bill, which extends your tenure. Boards go through this again every 4 years. So you want your sunset bill to reflect a 4-year extension. If you're a board that didn't meet the mark and your metrics weren't solid, and maybe you were getting off mission, the legislature will say, hey, we're going to extend you from 1 year. We want you to come back next year and explain yourself. So we're pleased to have had a smooth process. Our hearing was just back in November. Another major area where DRE had a significant lift was in landlord-tenant issues. So when I first got there, there was a dire need to update a critical document in this space, the Landlord-Tenant Guide. It was produced about 10 years ago by the Department of Consumer Affairs, and it hadn't been updated. So DRE stepped up and took on that task. Our legal shop, as well as communications, worked very collaboratively. We did outreach to the key stakeholders and got a lot of feedback. And it was a challenge to make sure that we had a balanced document, but I'm quite sure we hit the mark. We haven't received any real complaints about it. So we were pleased to be able to craft that resources for Californians, landlords and tenants, as well as local community groups and landlord groups. And the site is housingiskey.com. We stood up the website for the governor's campaign on all of these issues, and that website still exists, and we'll talk more about that a little bit later. But we had to embed in this the required declarations for tenants and all the required languages, all the resources to connect people with local organizations. So it was a pretty significant lift for us, but it's very impactful, meaningful work, and we were pleased to be able to play this vital role. I should note, I've glossed over this unfortunately. So the rental assistance thing just launched. And so I want everybody to be aware of that. And as of Monday at 5 o'clock, we're accepting applications from landlords and tenants. The site's working very well thus far, and we're pleased to have played a role in getting that launched as well. On the foreclosure side, the data we're seeing and the take from the various experts is they're not expecting a huge foreclosure problem. The market's still very hot. I don't need to tell you that. Interest rates are favorable, and folks actually have some equity. So we'll be tracking that closely. We also are currently developing some new homeowner outreach material because we recognize that this could become an issue, and we want to be proactive rather than reactive. So you can see some of the work product that we're generating to help make sure that consumers are educated on that. But again, a call to action to the group this morning is if you see any areas where you think DRE can step up and play a role and provide robust resources, let us know. Rick's email is here, our communications chief, so take advantage of that. On the exam side, you can see our numbers and how they dissipated due to the shutdowns, but they are ramping back up. We're very pleased about that. We're administering more and more exams. And so we're working hard to get folks licensed. Because of the downturns, we had about 5,000 exams that we had to cancel. So we're working through those very rapidly and hope to have all those folks served in due time. Licensing questions in general, we did create a special email address for our licensees so that they can get information that way. We are pretty inundated with phone calls, so email is usually the best way to do so. You can see our 800 number, our 877 number. We do receive 30,000 calls a month, which is a lot for an operation of our size. But again, take advantage of the email component. One thing that actually slows everything down for everybody is the repeat inquiries. If you inquire again and again, that can backlog everything further for everybody else. So again, use the email and you'll get a response from us that'll respond to your questions and your status. On the enforcement side, we do regulate the Subdivided Land Act, but also, of course, the main entree is real estate law. And so a number of areas where this comes to bear. First, investigations regarding licensees, and then unlicensed persons, which is a really important piece of it. We want a fair and balanced marketplace, and we want those bad actors out of the marketplace. And then we can also have issues with applicants if they have criminal issues they've not divulged, and other items as well. So those are the three buckets of our work in enforcement. And in the data, you can see the number of complaints we receive. And from where I sit, that's a pretty modest number. Think about it, 450,000 licensees and 6,000 complaints. So we have a natural advantage in this profession in that you've got a licensee on the other side of the transaction. You might have an accountant involved, an attorney, you've got the title company. So you've got a number of opportunities along the way to kind of right the ship before small problems become really big problems. And I think these numbers reflect it, particularly when you get down to the bottom line and see 900 formal disciplinary actions. And those are the serious ones where you're talking revocation or suspension. So more on the enforcement side as to licensees, a number of tools that we have. First is the citation and fine, which is a relatively new authority that we have. So this is for the more minor technical violations. And it does have a monetary fine potentially associated with it, which can go up to $2,500. So that's very fact driven based upon what took place in that transaction and what the licensee did. And then again, formal discipline, that can be the suspension, the revocation, et cetera. And I will say on this point that there's a lot of due process built into this system. And we do investigate any and all complaints that we receive. We have an obligation to do so. And quality investigations do take time. We need to talk to all of the parties in the transaction. We need to procure the documents, which can take time. We need to interview others. And so it does take time. And sometimes there will be some frustration from the consumers who filed the complaint or the subjects, but the thoroughness and quality of those investigations is critical if we're going to have a just outcome. And I guarantee if you were the unfortunate subject of one of these, you would want DRE doing its very best to make sure that we've identified all of the resources, spoken to all the right people, and come to the right conclusion. So just know that that's part of having due process. That's part of having a quality enforcement program. So we've always also got the desist and refrain orders and the bar orders. And then for unlicensed folks, again, we have the cite and find program. And this is really important on the unlicensed part, because the way this is structured is you see the $2,500 amount, but it's per act, it's per count. So if an unlicensed person does 4 seemly things, we can hit them with a $10,000 penalty. And again, these are the bad actors who aren't licensed. We would like to get them out of the marketplace. And the way you do that is you have an effective deterrent. And I think the $2,500 penalty per count represents that, because we want it to be impactful. We want it to be painful to discourage these folks from crossing the line and being in the marketplace in areas where they should not. And then a bit of a call to action here. Again, 450,000 licensees. We have about 100 staff on our enforcement team who can't be everywhere all the time. So we absolutely encourage you to let us know if you're seeing things in the market that we need to be looking at. Be our eyes and ears, be our boots on the ground, and help us maintain that fair and balanced marketplace, which is what we all want. So that's a scenario that really puts a bright light on the fact that DRE and CAR get on the same page on a lot of issues, and that kind of crystallizes what we want to do in terms of enforcement. We want to maintain that fair and balanced marketplace. So definitely play a role there and let us know if you see things. As to common violations, failure to supervise on the part of brokers, misrepresentation, advertising, and then of course unlicensed activity. More on enforcement. So a couple of pieces. One, we do the proactive broker's office surveys. Those are really important to identify possible issues and help folks course correct so that they're consistent with real estate law. The other is discipline follow-up, and I think this one's really important. So if we did have a problem licensee and we took formal discipline, I think we'd be remiss if we just took that action, moved on, and didn't do much else. So we actually circle back and make sure that they have made those adjustments and tightened up their business practices so they're consistent with real estate law. That helps make sure that consumers are protected and the individual is following through on the changes that they need to make. A really important part, I talked about the philosophy behind our programs in the sunset review context. And so part of that philosophy is being preventative rather than remedial. So when you think about consumer protection, when you think about theoretically a perfect consumer protection program, you don't have any violations. You prevent those violations from happening in the first place. And so we do that by equipping you with the information you need to remain consistent with real estate law. So we work hard to prepare a wide variety of resources to help you do so. You can see the broker compliance manuals noted here, the self-evaluation, et cetera. And then meetings like this. And we do have enforcement staff and licensing staff who are always happy to speak to your groups and talk about more of the finite details for those pieces. And then lastly, the complaint resolution program. I'm really proud of this. This is, again, that theory of being preventative and having early intervention. So this is an opportunity for the licensee and the consumer to get on the phone with the DRE rep and resolve problems early in the process before they morph into the more significant enforcement sort of actions. Industry scam alerts. So these are an ongoing problem. We do issue bulletins to all licensees to make you guys aware of these. Identity theft, fake DRE representatives. So you saw a bulletin from this on this issue a couple of months ago. And I just want to underscore, this thing's real. So they called my wife Lisa about a month ago and tried to run the scam on her. And they of course picked the wrong licensee. You don't call the commissioner's wife, but you know, these are very shifty, crafty individuals. And so we all need to have our guard up, know about these scams and know how to respond to them. So we're very pleased to crank out those bulletins and educate everybody on what's going on with these bad actors. Also check your own license and make sure everything's current. That's really important to help facilitate your renewal, or so that we can speak to you about issues when we need to. So make an effort to do that and keep everything current. On the audit side of the shop, so we have two different sorts of audits, the investigative and the proactive routine audit. And those are really important in terms of helping folks maintain appropriate business practices so they're operating consistent with real estate law. So here you can see our body of work. The lion's share of the audits focus on property management, but also broker, escrow, and mortgage loan, etc. And you can see the number of audits that we perform and the shortages we found equated to $5 million. So our common findings, trust fund shortages is the primary one, but a lot of the other ones are on the financial record keeping piece, reconciliations, trust accounts not designated properly, etc. And then broker supervision is always a critical piece as well. So again, we want to be preventative. We want to help keep these violations from happening in the first place. So you can see a number of our resources here. The real estate law is a very robust resource, and it flags all those important changes in the law that take place each year, courtesy of the legislature. The compliance manual for brokers is really important, the trust fund guide, etc. And again, if you see items where you think some support from DRE and some additional information would be of value, let us know. We really, really value that input so that we can really fulfill that philosophy of being preventative and keeping those violations from happening in the first place. Here's the body of work relative to subdivisions. And so it's all about obtaining that public report from DRE. And so these address all the important components of a new development, the fiscal component, HOA structure, etc. And the body of work here is maintaining fairly decent consistency. So we're pleased to see that with the market, and we think it's a good indicator going forward. In terms of online resources, we wanted to flag a couple of pieces here. First, the e-licensing component, you can see the arrow to that. And then the essential information has a lot of robust material that you want to take advantage of. Whether you're verifying a license of the individual on the other side of the transaction, the real estate law book, all of those bulletins we talked about, like on the scams. So make an effort to visit here. The FAQs are really helpful. And then lastly, the real estate bulletin. So we produce this every quarter. And I know that we all get a lot of emails from our associations, our community groups, et cetera, our kids' schools, whatever. But the real estate bulletin is really, really important. And this is the one document I want you to spend some time. Be really religious about that. Don't just file this away or hit delete. Take 15 minutes to at least go through that and see if there are any critical changes where you need to make some changes in your business practices to make sure that you're consistent with real estate law. And this will cover all the various programs at DRE, key changes, coming attractions programmatically, etc. So definitely take advantage of the bulletin going forward. And so lastly, here is our contact information. Social media wise, we're very active on Twitter, and you can see our handle here, as well as the handle in Spanish. I have a Twitter handle as well. So take advantage of that and follow me. And again, make an effort, flag it in Outlook, whatever you need to do to circle back and look at those resource documents on a regular basis. So again, we want to prevent violations from happening. And I think we have the right tools to help you do so, but we're always happy to help explain them or spend time with you to make sure that you're compliant as well. And so with that, I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you guys today. I mean, the good news and the bad news is with this public health climate is we're all getting really good at doing this. And it was strange for me to onboard in a large organization like this without having much face time with very many of our people at all. I've not met the lion's share of our team. I've met maybe 50 people face to face, and I've not been able to make the rounds and meet with the local association and have coffee with you guys this morning. But I got to say, the video at the start kind of made me feel a little bit of that vibe. So I appreciate you guys putting together the video. That was really cool. And so with that, we're happy to tackle a couple of questions that we maybe didn't hit in the chat, and we're happy to circle back on anything we don't get to address this morning.
Yes, Commissioner McCauley, thank you for your thorough explanation. And we did have quite a bit of questions listed in the chat box, and they are being answered very quickly by Chika. We do have one question. What is the time frame from filling this disciplinary to cite and find from filing? So from the time when the complaint is filed, when do they get fined?
Okay, so we're talking for an unlicensed individual?
Yes.
Okay, so it can depend on the kind of evidence we have to review. These are all fact-based driven, and getting to that conclusion does involve procuring all those documents, speaking to all the right individuals. Chika, you want to weigh in and talk about our actual metrics on these?
Sure. My apologies, I was trying to answer one of the questions on the chat. So related to the time frame, we do, to Commissioner McCauley's point, take unlicensed activity complaints very seriously and try to work them as expeditiously as possible. So a complaint related to maybe one act of unlicensed activity could take a short time frame from complaint to a citation or desist and refrain order, meaning a few months. Whereas if we have an unlicensed, say, property management company that's been dealing with millions of dollars of consumer funds, then we really want to take our time to make sure that we're capturing all of those transactions so that we can pursue the maximum fines and citations, and even possibly getting law enforcement involved. And so those investigations could take much longer, but we do try to ensure that we are taking disciplinary action and following through on complaints within a 6-month to 1-year time frame.
And we have a question from Cecilia Rudar. Sitting on professional standards committee with our association, we are always looking at training programs for people who need it. Do you have any good teaching programs?
Chika, you want to talk about our offerings?
She's being muted right now. She needs to be unmuted.
Thank you. I am so sorry. I was trying to respond to a chat question again. Would you please repeat the question?
Yes. Sitting on professional standards committee with our association, we are always looking at training programs for people who need it. Do you have any good teaching programs offered by DRE?
That's a great question. And we do have a lot of materials and resources available on our website. But to the direct question, if there are any opportunities for us to go to any events or speaking engagements, then please submit a request to the department, and we are happy to go out and discuss, you know, key issues that a particular association or compliance group is facing. So I can put my email in the chat, and that way that information can come to me.
Thank you, Chika. And we have one more question. For open house and door knocking, what is the fine, and can real estate agents when can real estate agents start to do open house again?
So that's going to be dependent upon the public health order, and as you know, CAR issued a policy on that. So as to enforcement, we're taking a proactive education approach on this. So if we do hear about an instance where someone's violating the public health directives, we reach out immediately to the broker and educate him or her on the requirements of the public health directive, confirm that they've appropriately trained their staff on it, and then circle back and make sure that that's actually happened. As to when the public health directives might change, we really can't speak to that. That's being driven by the Department of Public Health.
Thank you. And one more question from Cesar Aviles. How does DRE checks on broker supervision on virtual broker companies?
Can you repeat that? I couldn't hear part of it.
How does DRE checks on broker supervision on virtual broker companies?
Okay, so it's going to be the same standard in that the broker has to have appropriate supervision over the licensees. So it's going to be about, do they have policies and procedures in place? Are they providing the right sort of education? Are their records appropriate? Their methodology of maintaining their records appropriate? Shika, do you have anything you want to add there?
Oh, she's muted. Please unmute Chika.
Thank you. I have nothing else to add. Commissioner McCauley said it perfectly. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner McCauley. And that was all the questions we have and all the rest that have been answered. So on behalf of West and Gabriel Valley Realtors, we would like to thank our guest speaker, Commissioner Greg McCauley. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you. And moving forward, we have the attendance drawing. Please type in your DRE member name and your email in the chat box. Virginia, if you are here, please say hello to everyone or type in your email address.
She's here.
I'm here.
Yay!
Can you please type in your email address, please?
Okay.
Terrence Wang.
This person is not here.
Okay. Next.
Missed out $10. A lot of money now. Joanne,
Fun?
not here.
Go ahead. Not here.
So this will be the second $10, okay? Amazon, $10. Like gold.
Staff Karen Snow.
I think we can go next one. Thank you. Sorry, Karen. Jacqueline. Jacqueline's here.
Yay. Jacqueline, can you please type in your DRE number in the chat box?
Jacqueline is not is affiliate. Jacqueline, could you please just send your email? The last one, right? Nancy is not here. She's not here today.
Okay.
I hear this noise in the back. Like there's something spinning or something. What is that noise?
Isn't that the spinner?
No.
Joseph Nguyen.
Oh, he's here. Affiliate. Joseph, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm here. Hi, everybody.
Hi. Okay. If you want your $10, please type in your email address, and I think that completes our 3 drawings.
Yes. Please make sure to participate in our education classes. A list of upcoming classes is displayed on your screen. First, we have Common Estate Planning Mistakes. It's free program on March 22nd from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Then we have Power of Preparedness on March 23rd from 11 to 11:30 a.m. It's also a free class. We also have a CRMLS virtual training for marketing solutions. It will be on April 7th, 2021 between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. All the classes are free, and we have another glide overview to teach you how to use the technology. between 9 and 10 a.m. on April 21st. And WSGVR Global Committee is partnering with South Bay Association of Realtors to bring you this informative discussion on Prop 19 and the impact on global real estate. Please register today. Thank you everyone for joining our meeting today. Please join us next week as our affiliates will be presenting a home inspection and home warranty panel. And please support our affiliates with your transactions. The meeting is now adjourned. Thank you.